In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is Anthony Marquez, better known as Kung Lao for Mortal Kombat. Make sure to like and subscribe to NerdCage Live. Be there. Us.
Hi, I'm Leah Montalongo, the OG Sindel. Please like, subscribe to NerdCage Live.
NerdCage Live and gaming are a perfect match.
Shoot the J, Joe. Okay. Shoot it! All right.
Over on NerdCage Live on Twitch, Jay and Joe go live.
Call me Bazooka Joe.
It's all about you.
Kaboom!
Playing both old school and new school games every Tuesday night. Ooh, what a sight!
Jay, stop looking at her face and run. But she's so beautiful.
So be sure to follow NerdCage Live on Twitch.
Run for your life, Joe. Run for your life, Joe.
Running.
Run faster. Oh no, Joe. The galaxy's doomed because of you.
To scratch your gaming itch.
Oh, nice kick, Joe.
Thank you.
Yo, that's diabolical. Wait. Yo!
That's twitch.tv/NerdCage Live.
Greetings, citizens! You're now trapped in a nerd cage with your hosts Marq and Jay. We hope you have a smashing good time.
You're now about to witness the strength of geek knowledge. Hello and welcome. That's right. You're trapped in NerdCage Live. This ain't just a reaction show, but a debate show. And we're certainly going to debate tonight. So please hit that like button and subscribe. I'm your co-host, Jay G, coming certified geek 7 days a week, coming to you live from yours truly, Syracuse, New York. And always among us, our moderator and trollhammer, stronger than the DK Banana Slammer, Joe from Fallen One Gaming. And of course, always me, the warrior from Wakanda, the fiend from Louisville, my man, Marq Withers. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on? Super excited to be here as usual. And yes, the moment is here. We are talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. And I am super excited about this one because, as most of you know, Spider-Man is one of my favorite characters. I went and saw this movie, loved almost everything about it, and I've been wanting to talk about it, but almost nobody that I know actually has seen the movie. So I've had all this stuff like kind of bottled up, and I'm ready to really chop it up with these guys. And who better to actually like talk to about this than these two guys here? New York is in the building. Let's just say that.
Yes. Got my fellow giant YouTubers on here. We from Queens, New York. We got Kush from the Hub. How you doing, man?
Listen, y'all can hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We got a couple people in here. Man, I've been waiting to talk about this for a while as well, because I've had a couple friends to talk to it about, but like just other people, you know, on the same level, so to speak, of investment with the franchise and the movies and whatnot. I just let's get right to it, man. I was saying earlier, I need to get some talking points because I got so many thoughts flowing around my head that I'm not sure where to begin.
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, another New York Giants YouTube creator, all the way from New Jersey, but he hangs out in Virginia. We got Pest, the analyst from PTA Sports. How are you, my friend?
This stream is not brought to you by Yingling, but I drink it and I like it. And I'd like to propose a toast to the best Spider-Man movie in creation forever and ever. Amen. Here's to Marvel and to Sony for putting this classic together, because my goodness, was this movie a classic.
By the way, we love the beard, man. We love the beard.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we're growing it out now. We're looking sexy. You know what I mean? I'm bringing gray hairs back. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it.
Of course. Hey Joe, who do we got in the chat tonight? Because I feel like we got a full house going.
Oh, we do. We have Dion from Off the Beaten Podcast.
Yes.
We have Shane Withers. We got Josh Bates. We got Cindy Lou. We got Billy Mouth the Third. Titan Goji. Valerie Ganate. Full house tonight.
Awesome, guys. Thanks so much for showing up tonight. We have a lot to get through, but I don't even know what I was about to say. I'm so excited about this. Joe, I know you got a lot of talking points here.
Yes.
So I don't know if we want to start with you or if we just want to kind of go around and kind of talk about like our general feelings about this movie.
Let's do our general thoughts.
Yeah, let's do that first.
So we'll start with Kush from the Hub. Again, give us your general thoughts, and of course, while we have everybody here, go ahead and promote your page and your Twitch and all that good stuff while you're here, man.
For sure. I mean, it's not the first time I'm on here, so I feel like everybody already knows where to find me on YouTube. But I recently, a couple weeks ago, did restart my Twitch channel. Back in 2019, I had it where I was like doing only Halo stuff, and surprise, surprise, I restarted it to do the new Halo campaign. That's been going pretty good. Finished my final today, or my last final today, which means I could be way more consistent with Twitch streaming, YouTube, stuff like that.
Congrats.
Until basically whenever my next semester starts. So like the next month and a half is going to be just pure content creation from me on both fronts. And just in terms of general thoughts on the movie, I think Pest said it best. I don't even think it's a competition. This is the best Spider-Man movie ever made. And for me personally, it's like, and it's definitely recency bias, but still, I feel like this is the greatest, most epic superhero movie made, because it's technically like 20 years in the making, which is crazy to think about. And it's just a concept that nobody ever thought was possible, even after we had, the first big crossover movie, which was the Avengers. Even after we had stuff like Infinity War and Endgame, we're talking about so many legal stuff that had to be jumped through to make this happen with Sony and Marvel, and with just having a multiverse, live action Spider-Verse movie. It seemed impossible to do. So it's just of epic proportions, this movie, man.
Yo, very, very well
said.
Absolutely. Past the analyst, man. Love to get your general thought. I mean, you kind of already did, but let's just say it again. And where can everybody find you, man?
Yeah, I've also been here, quite a few times, so people know where to find me. PTA Sports on YouTube, PTA Sports on Twitch. The YouTube channel has been kind of quiet, and the Twitch channel has also been a little bit quiet, but it's because the last, 8 weeks have just been absolutely crazy for me. For those who don't know, I just recently retired from the Marine Corps, so I've been an active duty Marine like this whole time. I'm done with that part of my life, and I'm starting a new chapter of my life. And so now that things are starting to kind of calm down and simmer down, you guys will see a lot more content from me. I'll be doing probably more Twitch stuff than I'm doing YouTube stuff, but I'll be in both spots. It's very easy to find me. So there's that. In regards to this movie, man, I was super excited to sit down and watch this movie. And I kind of already knew a lot of the things that were going to happen just based on, some of the rumors, some of the talking points. I tried to avoid pretty much everything I could in regards to the movie, but I was blown away as I sat in this theater and I watched this movie happen. Absolutely blown away. So well done. Very, very little things in the movie that I didn't like. I mean, I can't even really think of anything that I did not like in this movie. There were some things that I was like, I wish they did maybe this a little bit different, but even still, everything that they did, in my opinion, was perfect. This is an A1 film. If you haven't seen it, I don't know why you're sitting here listening to us talk about it, because we're going to spoil the hell out of it.
Oh, yeah.
But if you have not seen this movie, go see it immediately. It's worth it. I genuinely don't want to go watch a movie multiple times in a movie theater. But if it wasn't for the fact that like Christmas is coming and I got a lot of stuff that's getting ready to happen, I would have already seen this movie a second time. So I'll probably go see it here in about a week or so. I'll go watch it in theaters again because that's how good this movie was. And I've only said that about one other movie, and that was Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So I'm just saying,
like a true G, man.
This movie was amazing.
By the way, before we move on to Joe, Pest, again, congrats on your retirement, and thank you for serving our country. Like,
absolutely.
You got balls of steel, man, because there's no way I could have done it, so thank you. And of course, our friend Dion from Off the Beaten Podcast also served our nation. Thank you guys. So all of our veterans out there, thank you, man. It's always great to have a veteran and a nerd and a Giants fan on the channel, man. I appreciate you taking your time.
Hey, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So Joe, go ahead, man. Floor is yours. Your general thoughts, real quick, and then we'll get Mark's, and then I'll close my general thoughts.
All right, yeah, so I saw this movie with the kids in 40X, and wow, what a wild ride. The swinging scenes were awesome in 40X, so, I mean, I have a little bias with that. But this movie has got to be, obviously, the best Spider-Man movie, but this was able to actually unseat Ghostbusters as my favorite movie of the year.
Wow! We just talked about that last
week. Praise.
I know. So yeah, this movie is action-packed through and through. It's a little bit of a slow start, but I'll give that a pass. And I mean, wow. I don't think we've had theater reactions like this, like I was saying, since Endgame. So this movie possibly could be the best MCU movie yet.
Yeah. And of course, Mark Withers, that you've been chomping at the bit. We've been going back and forth all weekend, man. Go ahead, dish it out.
Yeah, so on Thursday, right after I saw this movie, I did a rapid review on it, and in that, I kind of gave it an 8 out of 10. I loved almost everything about this movie. I thought that the beginning was a little bit clumsy, like they kind of put in a little too much fan service without narrative purpose. I also thought some of the dialogue was a little just choppy. It was like, let's just do this so that we can get to here. But once it gets to that second act, it really takes off, and it doesn't stop. Like, you know what I mean? There's a buildup, there's a buildup, there's a buildup, big payoff. And what I really love probably the most out of this entire movie is that it actually makes this version, this iteration of Spider-Man, the true Spider-Man, in my opinion. My main complaint about Tom Holland's version, although he's brilliantly played, I think Tom Holland does a great job as the MCU Spider-Man. Every other film, he's sort of been like the sidekick character in his own films, and he really doesn't display that tragic hero that Spider-Man is from the comics, that character that I grew up with. In this, you really see him like take loss after loss, you know, and you really get a sense of like the true reason, like why he's propelled to do what he does, which is not to be an Avenger, which is not necessarily to become like a famous superhero, but to actually have that sense of responsibility. I really felt it here. And, I think that for that reason alone, I think that makes this, in my opinion, the best Spider-Man movie.
All right. So I'm going to keep it. I won't keep the broadcast on all five of us right now when I say this, because I want to see everyone react here. I gotta bring all you guys back down to earth just a little bit, because I think you guys are still coming off a very big high right now. Okay, that being said, going into this movie, I went in with low expectations because I've been crapped on by Marvel this year between Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals, which are all certified booty sauce. So I was going into this movie like, all right, if Marvel burns me with one of my favorite Marvel properties, like, I'm never gonna let this go. I ended up liking it. It was good, but this is by no means a great movie. By no means is this the best Spider-Man movie. In fact, it's far from it. However, from a spectacle standpoint, My goodness gracious, what a roller coaster ride. This is probably the biggest spectacle of the year. This is the biggest, probably in my opinion, a bigger spectacle than what Endgame was. But there's this movie has glaring problems that can't be overlooked, and it's been driving me nuts all weekend the more I think about it. Because again, like Endgame, how they were inconsistent with the time travel, this movie was very inconsistent with interdimensional stuff that did not make sense, and we will get into that. But like I said, the movie's good, not great. I'm still debating if I like this more than Homecoming, but this is no way better than the first two Sam Raimi's or Into the Spider-Verse.
So can I go first?
No. I just
everybody get their grain of salt.
I just have one question. I just have one very, very quick question. One quick question.
Anytime Pest asks a question, it's not quick. Trust me.
Jay, do you like anything? Like anything at all? Like, do you like anything at all? Because it seems
Jay,
like
can I get a very quick answer and then I'll go?
I said it was good. Listen, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. 7.
So here's my thing, right? So here's my thing, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I gotta correct you. Shang-Chi was a good movie. I don't know why you don't.
I agree.
Shang-Chi was a good movie.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi was the first good movie from that studio, in my opinion, in like a while. I feel like it's been a while before Shang-Chi that I went in there and I enjoyed watching one.
It just didn't speak to me like I was hoping it would, being a fan of Asian cinema. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Shang-Chi was solid, yeah.
And then with this, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say this. I don't know if I necessarily agree or disagree with your point, but this is what I'll say. As if we're looking at it as a movie and we're analyzing it just as a movie, we're looking at the script, we're looking at the inconsistencies like you're saying, then I'll agree with you. There are some parts, and this goes to what Marq was saying as well, where it feels a bit choppy, especially in the beginning. Even some parts for certain villains, let's be honest, it's always going to be hard to juggle that many antagonists in the film,
right? And that's another problem.
It's no secret that the Lizard was completely weak. Sandman was weak in here. Even Electro to certain points. A lot of people the new, as Jamie Foxx calls himself. I did too, but it was
Jamie Foxx
but it was just this is such a drastic change without any real good reason. It was there was definitely inconsistency. So as a movie, yeah, I agree with you. But going back to what I was saying earlier, as a Spider-Man film and as a superhero film, I still think that it clears the rest simply because of the fact of what we're seeing on screen here. I feel like that carries more weight than you're giving it credit for.
But my thing, you said,
you know what I'm saying?
But for me, I feel like the spectacle. I can't let the great spectacle. By the way, special effects are phenomenal, best that Marvel's ever done in a while. Because the special effects in the other movies were not good. But anyway, the thing is, the great spectacle doesn't mask the problems of the movie. Because I'm sorry,
but that's where I'm going back to saying I disagree with if you're gonna judge it. You're saying that you're judging it as a Spider-Man movie, comparing. You say that the first two Raimi ones still clear. Where I disagree. I feel like you're saying where I would agree is if you said that and then said as a movie, because that's where I agree with you. If we're judging it just as a movie, but if we're judging it as a Spider-Man film, no, it clears everything else in my opinion.
It's totally better. It's totally better than the other Spider-Man movies.
It really depends.
That's just how I feel, but I'm not gonna knock you.
Yeah, it really depends, I think, on what you're using as the metrics, right? I think what Kush is saying is, and correct me if I'm misunderstanding you, but I think what Kush is saying is that this is a better Spider-Man movie than the first two Raimi films, simply because it's groundbreaking in what it's achieving, right? We've never seen all three actors playing Spider-Man in the same movie. We've never seen a semblance of the Sinister Six before. We've never, there's a lot of firsts here. Matt Murdock being in this from the Netflix universe. You know
Venom.
what I mean? Right. Venom.
The amount thing it sets up, not just for the MCM, because that's what it's called now, right? Not the MC, the MCM. Mm-hmm. And then for Sony's own stuff as well, is it sets up so much.
Yeah. And I mean, when you look at what this movie accomplished, right? It essentially tied up a lot of loose ends from the first Spider-Man movies, and so it explained some things and gave us a little bit of closure, right? Because we never got our closure with the other two Spider-Man properties.
Correct.
Like, we never got closure.
I disagree.
Now
we got closure with Tobey. We didn't get closure with Andrew.
Yes.
Did we? How did we get closure with
The
Tobey?
second Spider-Man movie left it wide open.
His trilogy and was like a trilogy. It was a story arc that came to an end. They were gonna do another one, which was supposed to be 4, 5, and 6, but it got canceled. That story arc came to an end, even though if it was a choppy end. You know, the Harry story arc, which got thrown in the backseat because Sony wanted to push Venom into it and stuff. It still got a conclusion.
It didn't feel like the very first 3 Spider-Man movies accomplished what could have been accomplished, right?
Right.
And so we're sitting here, we're trying to figure out, well, what happened to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man? What happened to him? And now we know.
Well, that's different from closure, though. You're just wondering what happened in that universe.
Well, because now I don't need to know anything else about Tobey Spider-Man. I know that he figured his life out, right? He's always going to be the guy that screws up, right? Because Spider-Man is a screw up. He screws up all the time,
right?
But at least
how is it that at his fossil age, him and MJ still got complications, bro? That made me laugh in the theater when he said that.
Because he's a screw up. Because he's a screw up, and that's
more MJ's fault. Let's take a step back, guy. That's more MJ's fault.
But it's the last big goal in his life at this point, right? He's been Spider-Man forever. He's old and broken down. Mentally, he's not quite there, right? But he's kind of there enough. He's there enough to be the voice of reason. But the last thing is MJ, and he's still screwing that up. But I mean, like, I felt like on all facets, we got closure. Even this movie, like, let's say they don't make any more Spider-Man movies, right? No more. I still feel like, okay, we've got closure here.
Yes.
We've got closure.
Yeah,
I agree.
I can agree with that. This felt like a culmination.
That's what I agree with you for Holland Spider-Man, even though they already confirmed the 4th one.
Yeah,
it was such a creative way of wrapping up that trilogy story, yet opening up the door for what is going to be the next trilogy with Holland, right? I love the way they did that.
Right.
What I will say, though, is that I entered this movie only wanting like another Tobey movie, but I exited. I'm just like, nah, I don't want it. We need another Amazing Spider-Man movie. Even though those movies were bad, Andrew's performance was never a weak point in those movies. I think most people can agree with that watched the Amazing Spider-Man movies. The movies were bad. Andrew's Spider-Man was not necessarily bad. He was pretty good. And side note, I just love like the head bobs and ticks that he does when he's in the suit. I haven't seen that done by Tobey or by Tom. Tom has a lot more expression from the mechanical eye things, but like you saw expression from Andrew too through like his body language in the suit. But like after watching, like I was just like, we need a proper conclusion for Andrew's story, which we never got.
I can agree with that.
And you know what, Pest? I think it could be on the table. To be honest with you, I don't know. It could be on the table.
Yeah, it's still Sony's property. They could. And people, in fact, Mark, you posted on the Facebook discussion group today. By the way, if you're not joining the Facebook discussion group, link in the description, please join. But you posted a really cool link, Mark, saying that The Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield's trending right now. It's in demand right now.
Right. It was trending premiere night.
Yeah.
Like when I got home from watching it Friday night, it was trending.
Hear me out.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just hear me out. Hear me out. This is what I'm thinking. Why not put Andrew Garfield in Venom's world and have him be the Spider-Man to that?
It's interesting you say that, Pest, because the rumor is that if there is an Amazing Spider-Man 3, he's going to be fighting like the Venom that we know. Whether it's Venom goes to his world or he goes to Venom's world, I don't know where I first saw it, but I've seen it multiple times that he's going to be the one that fights Tom Hardy. I don't know where it came from.
Well, I'm glad someone else is thinking like me, because that's what I want next. Like, that's what I want next.
Right.
And then, of course, we still got that little drop of symbiote left in the end credit scene. Which, real quick, a theory that I'm not even sure if it's necessarily a theory, but because of what the symbiote said at the end of Let There Be Carnage, where he's like, you know, it has like memories and the mind of all Venoms, all universes.
Yeah.
That means that it has the memories from fighting in Spider-Man 3.
Right.
With Tobey.
Which explains why Tom Hardy ended up in that universe, because he hadn't encountered Spider-Man, right?
Exactly.
And the actual theory was that, like, it's every villain that knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Well, if Tom Hardy had never met him, then why is he
symbiote
there?
knows him.
Okay.
That's
The symbiote knows
I'm
him.
so glad you brought that up because this is what the thing has been driving me nuts. Okay, Doctor Strange. I'm sorry, this is the one glaring problem with the movie that can't be overlooked. Okay, so come at me, I don't care. So the one thing that Doctor Strange said, if I'm not mistaken, okay, I only saw it once, I know you guys saw it multiple times, but Doctor Strange said the problem with this whole dimension thing is that it's the villains that died fighting Spider-Man and knew his identity. Okay, Jamie
Wait, no, don't misquote him. Don't misquote him. He didn't necessarily say all of them died because we know Sandman didn't die fighting him.
Sandman didn't die.
But that's the thing. He never said all of them. He never said all of them. That's what I'm saying. Don't misquote him.
Yeah, no. What he said
was
everyone that knew Peter Parker
found out died. He never said Sandman.
He said everyone
used the
knew
word
Peter
all.
Parker.
I'm just saying. Don't misquote if that's part of your point.
Okay, hold on. I'm not done yet. But anyway, Jane Fox, Electro, did not know who Spider-Man was.
This is true.
Okay. Another thing too is Venom. Topher Grace Venom from Spider-Man 3 knew who he was and died fighting Spider-Man. Why didn't
this
his
is a point?
Venom
Yes,
come to this universe?
I agree.
Instead of Tom Hardy. The inconsistencies and the problems in this movie is glaring. Marvel has done a terrible job with the time travel and the interdimensions because they're inconsistent.
Okay.
And I'll say this. Go ahead, Pest.
Yeah, let me just comment on that.
Yes.
There is a logical reason why Tom Hardy, I'm sorry, is the reason why Tom Hardy's Venom is there because Venom knows who he is. Venom knows because of the hive mind.
He did not know until after he came through.
At the end of Let There Be Carnage, Venom recognized and said that guy and licked the TV. He knows
after he crossed over.
Well, I wasn't even gonna argue that part. I was gonna argue more the logistics part, which is, we all agree there's inconsistencies in the movie, and with that, all right, bro, let's go call up Topher Grace. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. They have a Venom right now that's successful. They're gonna bring him, right?
Right.
But for the in-universe explanation, Pest, that goes with when Venom. He literally said it in the post-credit scene. He was like, "Do you want me to access the hive mind?" He was not accessing the hive mind before the post-credit scene. Yeah. As soon as he accessed it, he got pulled through. That was said. It Let There Be Carnage, the post-credit scene.
It was
as soon as he accessed the hive mind, there was that little thing in the room, and then he was pulled through. It's Peter.
I want to add something to that though too. Like, so for all we know, Topher Grace's Venom did appear. He just didn't appear on screen for us, right? Because there's a moment, right, when they're all in the Statue of Liberty. Doctor Strange is there. They're looking up at the sky, and they're like, and he's like, they're all.
Oh, by the way, I saw Craven and Scorpion. I think
Craven and Scorpion
and Rhino and
Rhino was there for a
right. So for all we know, Topher Grace's Venom could have been coming through at that moment. They didn't all come through all at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So like Not that I disagree with your point, because I actually did want to see Topher Grace in this, and I kind of expected to, but I can rationalize it that way by saying that, like, there's not really an inconsistency there because they were all kind of coming through at some point.
Yeah.
By the way, Let There Be Carnage is currently trending on Twitter.
Oh God, that one was bad. I'm sorry.
Not my favorite.
Do we have 3 questions?
As far as the Venom thing goes, I mean, you got to bring it back to reality to the point where, there are contractual obligations. There are the fact that the fans didn't receive Topher Grace as well as they wanted them to and everything. So, I mean, if you bring it back to real world, you can kind of understand.
Yeah.
But I do agree that it's kind of muddied the waters a little bit on the explanation.
The whole rule was, if these guys are died fighting Spider-Man and knew what his identity was, which was one of the whole points. Like, again, it was just inconsistent. And I see Dion and Chance saying, why am I nitpicking greatness? It's not nitpicking if it's a glaring, gaping hole that I can't.
I just tagged you both on something on Twitter, Pest and Jay. But no, I agree with you. Like, I'm on the same point as Marq here. I agree with it because I agree there are inconsistencies with it, but it can be rationalized if you kind of squint. But
here's another thing
squint,
too.
right?
Yeah.
Marvel is really good at leaving plot holes in the movie and then revisiting them later to explain them. That's
Yeah,
basically
that's
their thing. So just because you haven't seen him now doesn't mean you won't see him later.
Right. That's
Did you see what I tagged you in, Pest?
I see it.
That's
I'm glad people
Do
are
we-
thinking like me.
do we have any
But
questions?
Can you just understand where I'm coming from? Where it's just like,
Oh.
like I said, it's just some glaring that I can't overlook.
Again, Jay, do you like anything? Is there anything that you like?
Well, he's being me right now. Like,
But
you know,
wait,
this
going
time last
back to
year,
what Mark was saying, though, right?
earlier this year.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, he's being me right now. Earlier this year, when we were talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, I was the guy that was picking out like every little thing that was wrong with the movie. And everybody else on the panel was like, oh, this is amazing.
I love Zack
This is a 10
Snyder's
out of
Justice
10.
League.
Like, I was like, no, not really. So he's getting me back a little bit, guys.
And then going back to what Mark was saying earlier, which, by the way, you were correct. You were trying to explain what I was saying, which was like as a Spider-Man movie versus as a movie.
Right.
Like, it goes to that, too. I don't think anybody's necessarily wrong here. I feel like it's more what we're defining it as and where we're saying the inconsistencies lie.
It's all subjective anyways. It's how you experience it, how you see it.
Forget all that. Fight me, Jay. This movie was amazing.
It was spectacular.
Bring it! No, but like I said, the movie's fun. I like the movie. It's fun. Again, 7 out of 10. I'm being generous here. But like I said, that's one of the big glaring problems. The other glaring problem, and this is not like Kush kind of talked about it earlier, is when you cram so many villains in there, I thought some of the villains, especially early on, were short work. Like,
I mean, we could definitely all agree Lizard and Sandman were weak, right?
Yeah, but Doc Ock was taken out quickly. Like, and then Green Goblin was taken out. Like, they all got taken out like really, really quick, and it's just like, man, these guys had full movies that took a whole movie for Tobey Maguire to take them down, and here comes Tom Holland and like takes them down in like a couple of minutes. So it's just like it kind of like killed. Go ahead.
Let me speak to the Doc Ock thing, because like in that fight, like Doc Ock had him dead to rights, could have killed him, but it was the armor that saved him. It was the nanotech taking over his tentacles.
Yeah.
If he had had a normal Spider-Man outfit on, he would have been dead.
Without question.
And that's where I was saying, like, when the movie hype was building, we got trailers and stuff. Like when that first trailer dropped, and Doc Ock was in it. It was kind of confirmed for everybody. Yeah. We knew what was gonna happen.
Right.
I was saying to friends, and I was saying on Twitter, I'm like, yo, Tom Holland's Spider-Man ain't ready for this, bro. And he was not. He would have gotten killed by Doc Ock.
Yes.
And Green Goblin was out here rock bottoming him, superplexing him, bombing him through
Can we talk about the Spider-Man Green Goblin fights?
Real quick, Pest, because that's another thing that I loved, and another complaint about mine. I was like, yo, these movies, I loved them, but they were kind of missing the brutality from Amazing Spider-Man and especially the Raimi movies, and that was here. Here.
Willem Dafoe was the MVP.
Oh,
no question.
Wait a minute.
No question.
William Dafoe is the MVP in anything that he does. Okay?
Yes. I agree with this statement.
If you cast William Dafoe in a movie and someone else is hired as a co-star, you know what I'm saying? Or even if someone else is a star and William Dafoe is a co-star, you know at that point that it's William's movie now. It's just his movie.
Willem Dafoe actually had an interview recently where he actually said, when he was approached about this movie, he said, listen, I know I'm getting up there in age, but I need to do the action in this movie. Yes. So he basically said he didn't want to just go through and, there's a pop-in of Green Goblin, there's a pop-in. He actually wanted to be like almost like a mainstay throughout the film, and they allowed him to do that.
You could tell he missed this role, just like I could tell both Toby and Andrew missed the roles.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, I disagree on Toby. Toby phoned it in. Andrew was great. Toby.
I don't know if it's necessarily Toby phoned it in as it is what he was given to work with, because I'll definitely say Andrew had the stronger performance.
Oh yeah,
I'll say that. But I don't know if it's necessarily Toby phoning it in.
Toby looked like he didn't want to be there. Yes, like, let's be honest, he looked like he wasn't enjoying it.
Although you gotta give him a little bit, because how long has it been since Toby's been Spider-Man versus how long it's been since
almost 20 years.
14.
Right? It's kind of hard to jump right back in there.
I'm going to be completely honest. I don't have an issue with Toby as his Spider-Man, and here's the reason why. because it literally, even if he was phoning it in, I'm totally okay with it because he felt like an old ass Spider-Man. Like, I'm too old for this.
Yeah,
I'm too old to be doing this.
Right.
But I'm going to do it. I don't want to.
If these Spider-Men are like in the same family, he's definitely the father. You know,
he's Grandpa Spidey. He's Grandpa Spidey.
Right. And to your point, like I kind of agree with what you're saying now that I think about it, because he did kind of come across like every other iteration of Spider-Man, regardless of the age. There's a feeling of insecurity. There's a feeling of like being unsure of yourself, of feeling guilty about things. Those things, as you get older, tend to like fall by the wayside as you get, as you come into yourself as like a grown man, like you kind of like become more sure of yourself. And that's kind of like what he portrayed in this. Like, I do kind of feel a little bit like what Jay's saying, where he like kind of phoned it in. But when I really think about what you're saying, Pest, like, it makes sense that an older Spider-Man would be like more reserved and like more measured, and would be like, okay, like I've been through this before.
Yeah. He also seemed to like humanize himself a little more, like step away from the superhero role and go back to, a regular human life, especially when he mentions MJ and everything. He's like, yeah, well, we're having our issues.
Like, I think it was a very conscious decision. I think it was a very conscious decision, adding to your point there, Fallen, to have him for like the first half of his appearance outside the suit.
Outside the suit. He was the only one that didn't have the suit on when he showed up. He was the only one.
And then, of course, I mean, both of them, but Toby especially, but both of them kind of played Uncle Ben a little bit.
Yeah, so, but I'm just saying, like, when you have the movie with Andrew Garfield, who I've been critical of those movies, but Andrew Garfield was amazing in this role, and you could tell he was having fun. By the way, Andrew Garfield, you're a fucking liar, and we all knew it.
Yes, he's a liar, but that just gives him acting props.
Yeah. He deserves the Oscar for his off-screen antics prior to this movie.
I guess because Willem Dafoe and Andrew Garfield were so amazing, that's why Tobey Maguire to me just felt like so like phoned in. But Mark, real quick, something you said to me when we were covering the Rocky films last month, and you said that we never gave Burgess Meredith his flowers.
Right.
I feel the same thing about Willem Dafoe. Like, we haven't given that man his flowers because, like Pest just said, every movie he's in. Especially look at the last few movies he did between Snyder Cut, Aquaman, The Lighthouse, this movie.
Lighthouse, yep.
Like, holy shit, the man, like, next level shit, dude.
Yeah.
Hey yo! Let me just throw another one of his credits that doesn't get enough love because the movie was bad. But Death Note. He was so good in Death Note. He was so good.
He was the only good in Death Note.
He was the only good, but he was so good.
Yes.
His performance in Beyond Two Souls, the video game, was pretty damn good too.
And one more thing on Willem Dafoe. The one thing, Mark, we've talked about this many times on NerdCage. The one thing that the first Raimi movie robbed us of is Willem Dafoe wearing the helmet. And we're not able to see this movie. We really got to see his facial expressions, the way he looked at Peter when he was laughing as he's getting punched and he's laughing at him. Like, oh my God, like that performance, like yes, this is what we wanted 20 years ago. That we didn't get, because
in addition to that, like, just it shows like he was able to convey the dichotomy between the two characters, right?
Yes.
Like when he was not Green Goblin, when he would come back to himself as like Norman Osborn, like the sense of guilt that he conveyed, like, what have I done? Like what happened? Like, why am I? You know what I mean? Like he felt like a broken man in those moments and completely believable, and then flip a switch and he's like this other character.
Yeah.
And I just love that about the way that he like played this role, like really committed to it.
When he was getting punched and just kind of laughing it off, did anybody else have the feeling that they were watching the Joker?
from Dark Knight?
Yeah, because I've said it before. I
did. But to be fair,
people have always said he would make a great Joker too. So
yeah, he would. But to be fair, Green Goblin is a psychopath. So
yes,
it's okay.
And that's, another thing, just going back to like not necessarily problems, but little nitpicks I had with Holland Spider-Man. He's never faced a psychopath. Like, he's always faced a dude that's just a good dude. It's like the good dude type of villain. You know what I'm saying?
Doc Ock and Green Goblin are superhuman. They have super strength, which is something that Tom Holland never faced. Well, skipping the Avengers, I'm saying in his solo outings, like Vulture was just a regular.
So I loved when they literally duped it out.
Yes.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. I think that was the first. I think that was the first time we saw this Spider-Man really get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever.
I mean, he kind of got beaten a little bit. Far from home, he got beaten up a little bit.
He's gotten beat up, but he got his ass kicked in this movie. Like he got the shit kicked out of him in this movie.
Right.
This is the first time we saw Tom Holland really take a beating.
Bro, going back to the brutality I was talking about, part of that is, remember in the Raimi films, like every single film, there was a point where Toby's mask is half torn off, bro. Like every single
all jacked up.
We didn't have that, but we had it in the form of, you saw it, like what Press is saying, you saw it happen, you saw him bleeding and stuff. Like there's certain things that need to happen, in my opinion, and it happened.
Right. Right. And I like that, like, just kind of following up on that same idea, like when he had these fights with Doc Ock and with Green Goblin and he got his ass handed to him, that's very consistent with the early, like, Silver Age Spider-Man comic books when he first faced off with these characters. That kind of showed him that, like, he wasn't really ready to, like, take on the, like, villains at this caliber, like right off the bat. Like, it was almost like a callback to that, which we hadn't had in this iteration, as you mentioned. Also, like, in the other Spider-Man movies, he's had backup. Like, he's had, like, another, like, more experienced superhero, like, kind of handle those big issues for him. Whereas this time, he was just, like, pretty much on his own, you know what I mean? Like, they were the other Spider-Man. But
they handled really well of making sure he was the one to fight the main guys, which I was wondering how they're going to handle. Because every single time Goblin showed up, I was like, all right, when is Toby going to do something? But he didn't, which I'm like, you know what? Yeah, because it's not his movie.
Right.
No, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. And I think I really like the progression of difficulty throughout these three movies in terms of the villains, right? Like, Vulture was a very easy win for him, right? It was it didn't seem easy because he was so inexperienced at being Spider-Man, but it was still an easy win. And then Mysterio is the easiest of wins, right? That's a pretty damn easy win too. But Spider-Man could have legitimately lost. Like,
died multiple times.
And died several times in this movie. There were several occasions where it was like, hey, yo, is he about to die? Because I don't think he can get out of this one. Like,
and like, once again, just going back to the other ones, right? So we saw that several times in 2002 when Toby first faced off against Goblin. Several times he could have died. In 2004, when he faced off against Doc Ock, there was, I think, maybe 2 times he could have died. And then, of course, 2003, there was a bunch of times he should have died, but the symbiote saved him and stuff like that. It's just like, and I'm gonna say 2 things, kind of a little bit of a offshoot here, but the first one was with the ending. We only got glimpses of it, but I think that new suit might be my new favorite suit. My favorite suit, live action, has always been the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. I'm personally a big fan of the big eyes, which, by the way, when I saw it on the premiere night, is how I identified Andrew. As soon as the portal opened up, and he turned his head, I saw those eyes, and I outbursted. I yelled in my seat. I'm like, "That's Andrew! Look at the eyes!" And then after everybody around, they're like, "Oh shit, he's the only one with the bug eyes." But I love everything about his suit. I like the design. I don't know, and he fills it out pretty well, pretty good as well. But this new one, bro, the blue is blue. I know that sounds so weird, but the blue is blue. And maybe I'm imagining things, but it looks like it's a mixture of all 3 Spider-Man suits that we've seen. The Homecoming one, Toby's one, and Andrew's one. We only saw glimpses of it, but it looks like a mixture of all 3 to me.
That suit looks badass.
The color scheme is, like, it's very reminiscent of, like, the 60s Spider-Man. Like,
the one that you have behind you right now.
Yeah.
I think it
like
may have also been kind of
over your right shoulder,
gathering into the video game Spider-Man too.
What's that?
Yes. Over your right shoulder.
Put into the video game Spider-Man too.
Yes, it also did give me PS4 vibes.
Yes, it does. It does give you PS4 vibes.
And there is a new one coming, so
yeah, I totally love the way the suit looked. I can't wait to see it again. And just to kind of, I'm so excited to see where Spider-Man goes from here, because now we have the actual Spider-Man.
Yes.
And good on Marvel and Sony for creating a trilogy that was actually an origin story. That's never been done before.
Right.
So for them to tell this origin story in this many parts, and finally we get to, like, what you was watching wasn't really Spider-Man, because now here's Spider-Man. Like, I'm so
Pest, you agree with
excited.
what we were saying a couple months ago then?
I don't
At least in a way.
I don't
you
remember what the
subconsciously
argument
do.
was. I don't remember what the argument was. What was the argument?
The argument was that I don't think he's actually Spider-Man yet. And now you're saying it. Yeah, like after this, he is Spider-Man.
yeah.
Okay,
You know
maybe
what
I was wrong. Shut up, Kush.
Give me my cookies.
Pest admitting defeat.
Maybe I was wrong.
So do you guys want to talk about
But no,
that
you make a great
Daredevil
point with the
cameo?
origin story, because guess what? It took us 3 movies to actually get to his, like, the most consequential part of his origin story. With great power comes great responsibility, and it fit well. And of course,
Yes.
it wraps up the need of no Uncle Ben in this trilogy as well.
Right.
So I want to ship. Do you guys want to ship me over to that Daredevil cameo with Charlie Cox as Matt
Oh.
Murdock?
Yes.
Okay. First and foremost, I knew it was coming. The rumors were building. We kind of knew it was coming. I liked that, Spidey needed, Peter needed a lawyer because of he was accused of murder and this and that. And it was cool seeing him in, come in to represent him. My only, and Mark, we kind of talked about it over the weekend. Like, they just shoehorned him in, and then he goes, okay, see ya, bye.
Right.
I felt a little cheated that, like, they brought him in and then pretty much just kicked him right out.
So I don't know if I necessarily feel cheated, but this is another point where I'm not sure if I agree or disagree with you, Jay, because I was fine with him just kind of popping in and popping out, but at the same time, I wouldn't use that scene, but several other scenes, particularly with the villains and like stuff in between fight scenes, where I'm just like, it feels like there's maybe 15 to 20 minutes of this movie that was cut, if that makes sense.
Maybe.
I feel like there were some parts that were just cut, like a little bit more exposition with some stuff, a little bit more explanation, and maybe a little bit more Matt Murdock. So that's why I'm like, I'm not sure if I necessarily agree or disagree with you, because I'm fine with him popping in, popping out. Maybe they could have given him a line or two more, we see a little bit more connection, but that was enough for me. They didn't have to do it. But I would use other scenes to say it felt like some stuff was cut short.
And I think Matt Murdock, Matt Murdock was more of a connecting point, because we did get, at the end of Hawkeye, we get Kingpin, and now we get Matt Murdock in this, so you can kind of, circle it all up and
I'm super happy about it, because it opens up the possibility that the Netflix Marvel show are taking place in this universe, which we kind of already knew, but they always like ignore that, and that I just need some Luke Cage. I just need some Luke Cage now. Like, so I'm glad that he showed up, even if it was for a second, because it's like, ooh, so can we now get Luke Cage? Can Luke Cage show up?
Right.
You know who I need? I need John Bernthal's Punisher.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely. I think that's what we need, bro.
And I think that was really the point of the Matt Murdock scene, right? Like, to me, it just read like just straight fan service. Like, there was really no narrative purpose for him to be, because they could have just gotten really anybody to play that lawyer, but I think they just dropped him in there specifically like the day after the Hawkeye episode 5 premieres Kingpin, like reveals Kingpin. Like, that seemed like a stratagem to show, like, hey, we're gonna blend these two universes now.
I think it was completely intentional.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real.
I think it was meant to let the audience know, like, hey, these characters, it was meant to confirm, like, hey, these characters exist within this universe, and now you're going to start seeing the street level heroes.
Yeah, because otherwise they could have gotten Ben Affleck to do the Matt Murdock thing.
Right, which would have been cool too. That would have been fine.
That would have been hilarious more than cool, I think. I would have just been confused.
I just need Luke Cage.
Yeah, honestly, the first season of Luke Cage is probably my favorite Netflix.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The first seasons of all of those shows were the best for them.
I disagree. Season 3 of Daredevil was a masterpiece.
Throw Iron Fist in the garbage.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Pest, because I completely forgot Iron Fist existed. I didn't even have it in my head.
Yeah. Marq did what it was supposed to do.
You may have a point with season 3 Daredevil, but like for the most part, I feel like the shows, most of them peaked at season 1. Like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, I feel like they peaked at season 1.
I agree with that. Jessica Jones, particularly, like she only had
that
one.
Flamed out so quick.
I thought Jessica Jones was whacked from the beginning. Personally,
I liked it, man. I liked that season 1 a lot.
I liked it too.
Yeah, it's just like the follow-up. It was a mess. Like everything that came after that first season was a mess, and they never explained what happened between her and Luke. Like, why did they like part ways? That they never explained it, and I was waiting the whole time. And
speaking, I forgot which one of you four said it brings back like the city level or the street level threats.
Yeah.
In terms of city level, going back to how they did a great job of wrapping up this and then setting up the 4, 5, and 6 possibly. You technically have a city level Spider-Man again after, which is kind of crazy. I didn't know.
I want that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
I'm like, I'm not sure if they could have pulled it off because like. I usually have a problem when you go something as big as saving the universe back to down just saving the city, but like I was surprisingly just like, yeah, you know what, this could work. Going back to the sea level, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just for a movie and then things get back on track. But it's still nice that they did that.
It can totally work because they did the whole soft reboot where nobody knows who Peter Parker is and they don't know that he's Spider-Man. So now he doesn't. And you know what? I think that's good. I think that's really good because now we can centralize this Spider-Man story and not have to worry so much about, shoehorning him into these big events. Now he's street level again, and who knows, man? Maybe.
I think it might only last for a movie.
What's that?
Maybe it lasts for 2. But the one thing that the first 3 movies did that I liked, which was just teetering the line of connecting him to the MCU and keeping him as his own thing. Because, we're going to need, or I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I feel like you're going to need some type of replacement for what Tony Stark was in the MCU, which is he'll pop up every now and again in more than just his own movies. Right. At first, I thought it was going to be Spidey, and I'm kind of glad it's not him anymore. So I'm just like, all right, who is it going to be? Or maybe, like I said, maybe I'm wrong that. Maybe we don't necessarily need that anymore.
It's probably Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
you know what? It
Doctor
could be.
Strange.
It could be.
And let me say this about that before we switch topics. The thing that I like the most about them bringing him back to this sort of tragic street level Spider-Man is and I just lost the point just now. Just the whole idea of the world forgetting about Peter Parker. No one knows this Peter Parker character,
but they still know
including his best friend, who eventually becomes the Hobgoblin. Now he has to potentially, in the next movie or the movie after that, fight this person who was once his best friend, and his best friend has no recollection of him, has no memory of him. And you know what I mean?
Wait, are you saying that's going to happen, or is this an idea you're throwing out?
No, I'm saying potentially that could be coming.
Yeah. Which is hilarious because they hinted at it when he was like, "Did you have a best friend?"
I will betray you, become a villain.
He was, bro. Toby's like, I had a best friend. He died in my arms after he tried to kill me.
After he tried to kill me.
Peter, I promise I won't try and kill you.
Let me give the movie some praise that I really love. One, all 3 Spider-Man lived through a tragedy, whether it was Aunt May, MJ, Uncle Ben. I love that. The one part that struck an emotional nerve, which is something that I feel like most of the Marvel movies are lacking, no offense. When Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man rescued MJ, that was very, very powerful. I was so glad that that was well executed. I just one of the parts of the movie I absolutely loved.
Yeah, well executed, definitely well executed.
I agree, and it goes back to me saying I just feel like I really, really want, maybe even need that third final conclusion to Andrew's story, man.
Listen, I'm telling you, man, if he gets zapped back to Venom's world accidentally, we're golden. Okay, we're golden. I want to see.
I kind of want to be Venom zapped to his role accidentally.
Either way, I don't care. As long as those two end up together, I think that would be great.
You know who?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Tom Holland going to the Sonyverse, because Feige has said in interviews that Spider-Man is the only character that's going to be able to traverse back and forth.
That's
so
great.
I think he could mean more. Man, listen, you could be right, but he could just mean Spider-Man the title.
I
Not necessarily
really hope
Holland, you know?
down
Maybe.
the road we get, because Mahershala Ali's Blade is on the way. The Eternals teased him.
Yes.
I want Blade versus Morbius. Please get
Oh yeah, we
Blade
saw the
versus
Morbius trailer before, yeah.
That needs to happen. That's the crossover that needs to happen.
Also,
to be honest, when the
if we're-
Morbius
if we're
trailer started
on-
showing, I actually thought it was a Blade trailer at first.
Yeah. And can we address this? So, yeah, when we're talking about like Marvel characters or MCU characters crossing over, in the Morbius trailer, Vulture's there. Like, somebody explain that. How is he in that How is he in that universe? First of all,
Does that imply then that Morbius is taking place in the MCM, or is it just like, oh, somehow Vulture ended up over in the Sonyverse?
That's my question. And then there's the posters in that trailer, the Spider-Man posters that have murderer spray painted.
Which makes me think that.
So then I think it takes place in the MCM then.
Right.
I mean,
we're gonna have to see, because it doesn't make sense because it is a Sony property, but who knows? You know what? Maybe we will get that Blade versus Morbius. Maybe we will get it. Who knows?
Right.
Bro, I'm not kidding. When I started seeing the bats, I was like in the theater. I'm like, is this Blade? Are we seeing a Blade trailer? This is kind of early, isn't it?
Right.
The first thought that came to my mind.
Yeah, I think now that we've had this kind of open door of Sony and Disney working together, you're going to see a lot more of that.
I think so. I think ultimately they'll probably blend. It only makes sense.
They realize they can, if you go into like a real world setting, they realize they can make more money together than they can separately.
If this Spider-Man movie doesn't show them that, then nothing will, because this Spider-Man movie is a license to print money.
Wasn't it just off of
$587 million worldwide?
Yeah. I saw a news article yesterday.
It's still growing, I think.
That said before they counted Sunday's ticket sales, just Friday and Saturday alone were already top 2 all time for opening before they counted Sunday's tickets.
Right.
This is a license to print money, man. So I don't see Marvel and Sony not working together in the future. There's just too much money on the table.
That goes back to what I was telling people, like in real life and on tour. I'm like, some people don't realize, as crazy as it sounds, Spider-Man is bigger than Marvel. That man is like the Superman of Marvel in terms of recognizability. That's a world marketability and stuff. Like, more people know Spider-Man than they know what the company Marvel is. And for that reason alone, I remember saying early on in the hype train, I was like, this is gonna be bigger than Endgame, bigger than Infinity War, and that's the sense I meant bigger in. Like, more people are gonna go watch this than ever before.
Yeah, I mean, I use the term 4 quadrant a lot. Like, when in posts and like on this show a lot, like when we talk about different types of films, I think that this is like the perfect representation of like a 4 quadrant film, because we as like super fans, of course, we're going to see it, whether it sucks or not, like whether we think it looks bad or not, we're going to check it out. But there were plenty of people that went this past weekend, that weren't necessarily comic book fans, that weren't necessarily like serious movie fans, that weren't necessarily like into superheroes or anything like that, but they know Spider-Man, they're familiar with him, they grew up with him. So, it makes perfect sense that this movie has done what it's done.
And I like the completeness of the movie. I mean, it runs you through every single emotion as you're watching it. My niece cried like 5 times. So, I mean, it gives you all of that depth that you need in the movie.
Right.
The last 30 minutes of the movie, my wife was crying the whole time. Like, she legitimately, and after the movie was over, she was like, it's just so sad.
For a moment, I thought Toby was dead. When he got stabbed, I'm like, oh my God, did he kill him?
That was a big shock.
You know what I realized he wasn't?
That's a nitpick for me. Go ahead. What?
You know when I realized he wasn't, because I thought it for a split second too, but then I was just like, oh, they're not focusing the camera on him. He's probably all right. And they like, I was like, wait a minute, shouldn't you be panning the camera over there? Nah, they just did it. I was like, all right, he's probably moving.
When that stab happened, somebody in the movie theater audibly yelled out WTF. Like, it was like, what the?
Oh, there was multiple people. There was people screaming, there's no need for that in mine.
Right. I like how afterwards he goes, I've been stabbed before, so.
Yeah, that's a nitpick for me. Like, why didn't his spider sense like kick in? You know what I mean? Like,
because he's old. Because he's old. Just chalk everything up to him being
old.
Right.
At a certain point, you can't use that excuse. But I agree.
No, man, he's old.
But you know what I'm talking about. Like, in the first Spider-Man,
bad with Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man is that he's old. Okay, that's all we're gonna say. He's old.
Right.
But no, I
maybe he was just so focused. Yeah.
I will say. Oh, look, now Peter Parker. I'm just on Twitter, and now Peter Parker is trending. Hilarious. One thing I liked that needed to be done was that little small. Okay, first of all, the bonding between the three was on point.
Yes!
In my opinion, that they had in the lab and fighting.
Yeah, I love the comedic moments in this.
It was needed. It was 100% needed for them to like back up Andrew and be like, "You are amazing." Because once again, and going back to what I said earlier, he is a better Spider-Man than people remember, and the reason people's memories are clouded is because the movies are bad. You gotta separate the performance from the movies.
Yes. The first movie wasn't bad though. I like that
Spider-Man.
I did not like those movies, but I can attest to that, Kush. Yeah, that you're right.
I thought they were fine.
I like that first one a lot, man. I thought it was
fine. Well, at least we could all agree his performances as the character were good, maybe even great at some point.
So I've always said this. That Tobey was always a great Peter Parker, but not that great of a Spider-Man. Oh my God, I just had his name. Andrew Garfield was a great Spider-Man, but and Peter Parker,
he wasn't geeky enough, in my opinion.
He wasn't geeky enough. He was a great Spider-Man, though. You got all the comedy, all of the shut up.
The body language, I'm telling you, the head ticks, the body language in the suit.
Yeah, so like, and then Tom is kind of a good blend of both, in my opinion. Yeah. So it almost felt like when the three of them was there, it was, you know, the MCM's Spider-Man. Over here he's talking to Peter Parker. Over here he's talking to Spider-Man, like the devil and the angel on the shoulder.
Right.
That's what I felt like as I was watching the three of them interact. Wow. It didn't feel like three Peter Parkers. It didn't feel like three Spider-Man. It felt like one Spider-Man, Peter Parker, perfect, talking to Peter Parker and talking to Spider-Man. That's what I felt.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
That's
My
true.
favorite scene between the three of them together that killed me, I laughed so hard, was like, they said to Tobey, "How are you shooting it out of your wrist?"
Yeah.
Oh my God. That
and
was
we shoot him anywhere else.
I'm glad they addressed that.
We knew that was going to come up too.
No,
we also knew that it's going to come out of anywhere else was going to come up too.
Yeah. So not only that, but like, go ahead.
I'm sorry. My favorite was the real life version of the Spider-Man point meme when they're like, "Hey, Peter, him, me, him, him."
I knew they were going to do that.
Yeah, I was like, perfect. They did it. I just needed them to do it, and they did it. So I was happy about that.
Yeah. And the thing where Tobey's kind of arching his back over and like, I got a middle back thing.
My back, that's straight out of Spider-Man.
And then he cracks his back. That was hilarious.
Bro, as soon as he said my back, I got flashbacks to Spider-Man 2, man.
And the thing where they mention the Avengers, and he's like, "Cool, what is that?
What is that?
What is that?" So many good lines in this movie. So many things that, in my opinion, were just done. They were pleasing to me. Yeah. Like I walked out of this movie absolutely pleased because it just, again, it felt like Spider-Man on the whole was put in a nice, neat little package with a pretty blue and red bow on the top. It was just like, this was perfect to me. This was perfect. I love this so much. It was perfect.
And I actually got chills when the last words of Aunt May was, "With great power comes great responsibility."
Oh, and we all know when she said that,
she was going to die right then. That was curtains.
When she said that, I said out loud, "You gotta be kidding me." I said it out loud. "You gotta be kidding me.
Between
And my
that,
was over at me, and I was like, oh no.
I think the best lines in the movie, the most powerful lines like that, are between that line and the end when the Spider-Mans look at him and go, "Listen, dude, it's what we do."
Yeah.
You know?
Like for me, the most powerful scene. Well, there's a lot of powerful moments, but for me, one of the most powerful scenes is an actual, real quiet moment, right? So after the world has forgotten him, and he like goes to tell MJ who he is, and he's practiced the script. Like, I know you don't know me, but my name's Peter Parker. And then he goes and he sees that like she's happy, like she's at peace. Her and Ned like are both like about to go to MIT, and they're realizing they're about to realize their dreams. Their lives are actually better without him in it, and he realizes it in that moment. And she asks him like, "Is there something else? Is there something else that like you want to tell me?" And he was like, he's just like thinking to himself, and then he just goes and walks out. Like, I just thought that was like so poignant. Like, and it was just so well done. Like, you didn't really even need a lot of like actual like dialogue to understand like what was going on in his mind. He did a really good job like conveying.
There was a lot going on with that too, because I mean, you have to think like Spider-Man afterwards with that.
Right.
I have nobody left that they can take from me. Why would I go back and put people in my life they can take?
Right. Especially
it goes
when
back
he
to
sees
the earlier
Band-Aid,
line.
He sees the Band-Aid, and he's just like, nah, I don't want to put you through that no more.
Guess what? It doesn't hurt anymore. The earlier line that Doctor Strange told him, the problem is you're trying to live two lives, you got to choose one. And now he's living the life of Spider-Man alone. There was a point I was going, so with the Aunt May thing, so obviously curtains for her, RIP to her. But I will say throughout the entire movie, I was like, Aunt May, you're stupid. Why you want to cure these villains, bro? It's their fate to die. I'm sorry. I was completely on that side.
I agree.
All the way to the very end, I was like, listen, even when they cured them, I'm like, yo, listen, the right decision would have been to just press that button at the beginning. That's all I'm saying.
Get them out of here. Get these angels out of here.
Exactly.
I get it. They had to make. It drove.
Yeah, they had to get
the no kill policy. You know,
Right.
that every superhero has.
Right. And like the biggest glaring problem, and this is why I say the first act was like kind of problematic and clumsy to me, was like when Doctor Strange is like casting the spell and is explaining to Peter, like, no, everybody's going to forget that you're Spider-Man, including me. Like, I don't, like, in my mind, I'm like, why would that be a problem? You just, as soon as the spell's over, just explain, like, hey, like, you probably forgot this, but boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Peter Parker. And you just tell everybody that you want to know, tell them that. Like,
Mark,
why?
and with the end of the movie, too, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, he should probably do exactly what you're saying to, like, the rest of the Avengers and superheroes. I'm like, that seems like an easy fix to me.
Yeah.
Well, he did explain.
There's certain things where it's just like, yo, just do this instead of what you're doing.
Right.
But what
Remember,
you say,
he did say when he's like, my Aunt May should know because it was really messy when I told her that I was Spider-Man. I don't want to relive that again.
I will say though, for the superheroes, I'm like, that's an easy fix, especially like if you got to go back to Doctor Strange and be like, yeah, man, hey.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me explain.
Especially the heroes, like,
yeah.
But I mean, I guess like Joe, what you're saying, that does make sense, and especially like if he's public enemy number one, as they say, like, you know, in the backdrop right behind you, Kush, like, you know, if everybody thinks that he's actually a murderer, and like now no one in his life knows that like he's actually Spider-Man, maybe they would freak out. Like, you know, maybe they'd be like, oh my God, like you're a murderer. Like, you know, like maybe he was worried about that reaction.
So it does beg the question now, because guess what? We never got the solution or the resolution to whether or not his case against Mysterio was solved. That was never addressed in the film.
Never addressed.
At all.
Oh,
so he probably still is public enemy number one.
No, it was addressed. It was addressed. It was addressed in the when Daredevil. It was addressed.
Yeah, he said you're still left to court of public opinion.
Yeah.
But which is true, but I have a feeling somehow legally he's gonna, I don't know, they're gonna try and do something. I just have a feeling.
That's why all of Stark Industries stuff got jacked, because they blame Stark Industries instead of Peter Parker.
Which is another thing, going back to like him being man now, and him being to the streets and whatnot, and the new suit. Another thing I love about the new suit, under the design, I was like, he don't have the technology anymore that protected him from dying.
Yes, exactly.
Now he's broke ass Peter Parker, which is what he should have been the whole time.
What he should have been from the jump.
Throwback to give me my rent broken door apartment.
Was that the same apartment that Tobey Maguire?
No, it wasn't, because that apartment was higher up. It was in a way higher building, and it was way smaller than that. It was like way smaller. It was like a legit studio.
He's back in the crummy apartment. He's got to get his GED now. He's not going to get into college.
Like I was saying off camera, though, I thought it would have been hilarious if you would have went, can somebody fix this door?
Yeah.
I got one.
Can I talk about the music real quick?
We're getting, Kush, I know you got your show coming up here, but I got one question for everyone, because there's only one part of the movie that I didn't understand. Maybe you guys can explain this to me. The scene right before that Doctor Strange battle where he was out of his body, how was Spider-Man able to move like...
I have no idea.
Spidey sense.
Was that it? That's what I was kind of thinking.
And this is what I was thinking. He knocked Peter Parker's soul out of his body. So his soul goes out of his body, but the spider sense is an internal thing.
Oh, that's true.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I'm like,
was it just linked? It was the spider sense making him move.
I'm like, the last thought from the brain the spider sense has was keep this awake. So like, was it just doing that job?
Yeah.
But real quick before I go, because like you said, Jay, I gotta dip like really soon. I just want to talk about the music real quick. So you guys already know like. I think the very first time I came on talking about my background in music and my love for music, specifically orchestral stuff. So score with movies. I love the score of this movie. Yes. I love the fact that it's a very small thing, but they managed to get both Toby's and Andrew's themes in there. And I heard Toby's original theme when they went to the high school. So much joy was brought to me. I was so happy about that because music is a way more fickle thing to get rights for. Sometimes like the studios literally just have to write a very similar but yet still different score and music sheet to play it instead of using the actual thing. I don't know if they did that, but it sounded just like the original one. And then I don't know if it's a new Spider-Man theme, but the theme that was playing basically for the last 30 minutes of the movie, I love because we're used to the Holland Spider-Man theme being dun dun dun. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. At the end, it was that somber, slow one, which is like dun, dun, dun. It reflected the past 30 minutes of the film, and when he was swinging, that was playing. I was just like, I love that a lot more than I expected it to. Yeah. And the feelings I get from that reminds me of Tobey's Spider-Man 3 theme, which was very similar, and it also reminds me of the Amazing Spider-Man 1 theme, which is not a memorable one. It's not necessarily a good one, so it's not memorable. But I went back and listened to it. I'm like, it evokes feelings of those two.
That actually, I can agree with that. And I actually thought about that like as I was watching it, right? Because like if you think about that main kind of like homecoming theme, that it gives you a feeling of like whimsy, right? Like there's like a joy to it. Right? Like there's sense of like adventure, but there's a positive energy to it. Whereas like you said in that final scene, that final swinging sequence, it's a totally different vibe. And it definitely like lets you know like, okay, going forward, like this is the same guy, but it's a different Spider-Man going forward. It's a different guy. You know what I mean? He's gone through a change, and now like we're gonna see like him in a different environment, different types of adventures. It's going to be a completely different thing. So I thought that was really well done.
From Peter Parker, the sidekick, to Spider-Man.
And then I will say, for those like, if maybe help you get a better understanding, if you could find it online, try to see if you could find the ending theme, which I think it could be not confirmed. I think that is the new Spider-Man theme. Listen to that, then go back, listen to Spider-Man 3 theme, and listen to the Amazing Spider-Man theme, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But Jay, I do gotta hop out right now because I gotta set up my stream. I'm not sure if you guys can end here or continue, but I want to say thank you so much for having me on. It's always a joy to be on here. Jay, Mark, Joe, obviously Pest. It's always a joy talking comic book stuff with you as well, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. But I gotta be out, man. Stay geeky, my friends.
Follow him on YouTube, follow him on Twitter, follow him on Twitch. Links are in the description. Kush, we always love having you on. I love being on your show as well. Thank you so much for taking time off your busy schedule to be here, man. And we cannot wait to have you back, Kush. Thank you.
Yeah, this was a blast, man. Thank you for being part of it, man.
Just let me know when. You already know I'm down, man. Peace.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, guys, bear with me with the technical thing here since Kush had to bounce here.
So while he's doing that, Joe, like I feel like we have ignored the chat completely. Do we have any questions or comments that we want to address?
These for you. I think way in the beginning, I think it was Josh Bates that asked how you rank No Way Home versus Into the Spider-Verse.
Well, if that's a question for me, that's like a Sophie's choice, man. I absolutely love Into the Spider-Verse, and I felt like in many ways this was sort of like a live action version of it. So, man, like it would really depend on the day that you ask me. But like as of today, since this is like fresh for me, and I came out of the experience I had in that theater, I will probably carry with me for a very long time. So I'm going to say this one.
Okay.
Wow.
Well said.
Yeah, that's a difficult one.
I got one for you, Jay, from Josh. And I don't know if this is a dig at you or not, but it says, what is an example of a 10 out of 10 film for you?
Easy. The original Rocky, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Training Day. Those are perfect movies.
So basically anything with an Oscar-worthy performance.
Yes.
Yes.
Listen, I love my comic book films. I love my action movies. I love my Godzilla movies. But I'm also a cinema snob, okay? I like my, my movies, my cinema, my indie films, whatever.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So yeah, I'm definitely a movie buff, but like, Mark knows this. We've done this. This is why you come to NerdCage Live. We rarely give out 10s. Rocky is one of those incidents. Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of those incidents. We rarely give out 10s.
Wait, the first Rocky? You giving the first Rocky a 10?
Oh yeah,
Rocky's my all-time favorite.
That's a
movie.
Masterpiece.
It's a perfect 10 in my opinion. I think I also believe it's one of the best movies.
I'll second that. I love that movie.
I don't think Rocky 1's even my favorite Rocky.
Wow.
That's fair. I'm not gonna knock people. We already had. Yeah, we covered Rocky. We ranked all the movies. Like we all had different opinions, but for the most part, most of us agreed that the first one's still. But yes, Josh, if you're still here, that's my idea of a 10 out of 10. No way would I put a movie like Spider-Man a 10 out of 10. There's no way, or any MCU movie. The only ones that come close is maybe Winter Soldier's up there. Like I'd give that one a 9. I'd give Black Panther a 9. But no way any MCU movie I would give a 10. No way.
Wait a minute,
The thing that I've noticed.
I just have one question. I just have one question. Where you put Rocky 4?
Rocky 4 director's
for
cut.
me, that's low.
The director's cut is better than
because that's the best Rocky movie. Is
Rocky
Rocky
my least
4?
Favorite. I
no.
love all the Rocky movies, but Rocky 4 is my least favorite.
It's a 2-hour music video.
Hey, director, turn it off. We out of here. I've never been so disrespected in my life.
Yeah, see, I think the thing you got to remember.
They're all great though. I love all of them.
With this particular panel is Jay and Mark are usually, they want the class of the movie. They want the Oscar-worthy performances, the remembrance. Whereas when it comes to me, I just want the spectacle. I just want to be able to have a fun roller coaster ride. That's a perfect movie in my opinion.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's really what it is, right? Like movies, and I'm stealing from John Campea here, right? Like, so movies are experiential events, right? Like, so you go into a theater and how you feel when you come out, you take that with you forever. Like your nostalgia towards that movie is what makes it a great movie for you or a terrible movie for the rest of your life, right? And that's why we have differing opinions about it, right? About different movies, because we experience those things differently. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's a big reason why Jay and I disagree on a whole lot of things, because we just view them differently.
This is not an echo chamber, okay? This is NerdCage. We debate. We poke fun at each other, but at the end of the day, we love movies, we love comics, we love these TV shows, and of course, video games too. We all have different opinions. It would be boring. This wouldn't be NerdCage if we didn't, have different.
And I'll bring this point up. These two, Jay and Mark, are the adults in the room when it comes to watching movies. I just want to feel like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I want want to be taken to another place for an hour and some change, or
That's fair.
3 hours.
I understand.
In the case of these movies, now I just want to just take me somewhere else. Let me experience something new. I don't need all of the glitz and the glamour, right? Just give me a good movie that's fun. Even if the fun of it is being suspenseful or being scared, you know what I'm saying? Just give me the fun. Give me the fun.
Yeah. And I think our community feels like the same way as, half of them are probably like Jay and Mark, and they want something classy and they want something that's, an Oscar-worthy performance. And the other half is just looking for a fun ride. I mean, that's just basically the split between the world,
Yep.
That's what we like.
Yeah, I'm going to have to come back and we're going to have just an overall movie debate because I think it's going to be very interesting.
Oh, Pat.
Man, I wish you were on that Rocky ranking.
You're part of the NerdCage family. You are welcome back.
Yeah,
we love having you on, dude. You bring an aura. You bring an energy. You're hysterical, man. So
I'm going to have to come back here. We're going to have to argue about movies, man. That'll be a lot of fun.
I do have a request, though. You know what I want to do? When football is over, after the Super Bowl, I would love to do a live stream. You, me, Mark, Kush, Ash Money, and Fisk. We need to get Fisk in here. My God, if we have a stream with those guys, oh my God, it's going to go into territories that the internet has never been before.
You sure you want that on your channel? Maybe my channel is better for you guys. You know what I'm saying? You guys are
it's the suburbs. That's all.
Yeah. No, Fisk is Fisk in the suburbs anyway. Listen, we have to take this somewhere else. You guys are making strides over here at NerdCage, and we don't want to mess your money up. So we got to do that somewhere else.
I think it'd be fun to have Fisk on here. It'd be a nice change of pace. I've been wanting to reach out to him to have him on here. But if we could do, like I said, when football's over and we have time to get Ash and Fisk and Kush and you back on, just for what you just said, like just a general stream about movies. Oh my God! That may have to be like. Yeah. Dude.
What do you want to make it, like a NerdCage Raw or a NerdCage Uncensored or something like that?
Battle Royale.
That is good.
Yeah.
By the way, while I have you guys here, I'm going to just push you on the spot.
Yeah.
On Friday, I am going to be doing a Christmas Eve stream. I tend to do these streams, ever since I showed up, I try to do a Christmas stream. And it's really just a party, okay? There's no subject matter. We just hang out, we talk, people bounce in and people bounce out. I like to officially invite the NerdCage crew to the Christmas Eve stream party thing. I'm going to probably get drunk on camera.
Oh boy!
Listen. We'll have a blast. We'll talk. We'll just talk about everything. It really is no subject matter. I just think that I wholeheartedly believe that, as content creators, regardless of the content that we're making, we're all family.
Yeah.
And so why not get together, on Christmas Eve and just have a little Christmas party, a little digital Christmas party. So you guys are absolutely invited. I'll make sure that I get you guys a link to that. I
just want to know what time, because we usually do on Friday nights, we usually go on Twitch, but what time are you thinking?
I'm gonna probably stream for like 4 hours. The last time I did it, we were on for like 4 or 5 hours.
Like he said, pop in and pop out. So whenever you're ready to jump out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give you the link, and when you're there and I see you, I'll be like, oh, look who's here.
Yeah. So what time?
Yeah.
What time are you gonna start?
It'll probably start a little later on in the evening. I'm thinking probably like 7 or 8. I am, and one of the really cool things that I'm super proud of doing is I got a contest going on right now on my Twitter. If you go to my Twitter and you go to the pinned comment, I'm doing a Christmas morning giveaway where I am personally going to give a random person $500. On Christmas morning, I'm going to give a random person $500 as a gift. There are also 2 other people who have pledged $100 and $50. So we're going to give away $650, and we're going to pick the winner during that stream. So
very nice. You guys, NerdCage Nation, you hear that? You want to win some money? Go hang out with Pest.
Go over to my Twitter. Go on my page. Go to the pinned comment. All you have to do is go and comment comment under it. What would $500 do for you on Christmas morning? That's it. That's all you got to do. And you're entered into the contest.
Awesome. Joe, we got one more question here from Goji Shea 1991.
Yeah,
you want to tackle that one?
It says, do any of you guys know if anything's been said, if there will be more Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland?
I know that something was said, like Amy Pascal said something, and then she kind of retracted it. So I'm not really sure if anything official has been said. Like, I'll just break down, like, for people
a lot of
who
rumors, but I don't know if anything's confirmed. So
yeah, so I'll just quickly like break down like what actually happened. So for those of you who don't know, Amy Pascal is sort of the Kevin Feige of Sony, right? So she runs the Sonyverse, you know, as far as the spider-centric characters in that universe. Mm-hmm. So she, during an interview, had made a statement saying that there was essentially going to be another trilogy, like a 4, 5, and 6 for the Tom Holland Spider-Man. And representatives at Disney and other people at Sony were like, yeah, like, we don't know anything about that. So she basically made another statement saying that she was like kind of misquoted or whatever, and kind of pulled it back. And since then, there's been sort of like, not really hints. What's the word I want to use? There's sort of been like little like nibbles as far as like, yeah, like, we're working on something. It's not official yet. Like, we're still like, there's still contract negotiations. There's still this and there's that. So I don't think anything official has been announced yet, but I think we all kind of know
there's
going to be
a general interest, but
yeah,
I don't think it's
And Tom Holland did say he wants to take a break, and I don't blame him. So
yeah.
I think if we get more Spider-Man, I think it's gonna be down the road because I think Sony wants to build up their universe. You got Craven coming out, you got Mobius. I think what's gonna happen is we'll get more Spider-Man, but I think Sony's gonna build up their universe a little more.
I could be wrong about this. I may have lost count, but I think that he still has one more appearance in a non-Spider-Man
that's been
movie.
confirmed. I was listening to, shout out to the Weekly Planet podcast, great podcast. If anyone wants to check them out, but yeah, they said, I was listening to them today, and they confirmed that he owes Marvel one more appearance.
Which, if I had to guess, just based on,
or just appearing like, you know, in a Thor or something, like he owes one more appearance.
I think just based on the end credits trailer, he's probably going to be in the Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
that's what I would think.
I would think so. Yeah,
more than likely he'll make an appearance in it, and that'll be his contractual obligation. He'll be like, all right, take a couple of years off. Which, I think that's the best move. Honestly, whether or not they're going to have more Spider-Man movies, I think they should wait a couple of years before they.
This is a good like ending chapter.
Yeah,
like, if
we can stop here,
and it'll be cool to see him come back older. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
like if they time jump a couple years and he's been this Spider-Man for a couple of years and has gone through some stuff, I think it would be a really interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, I think this is a good stopping point.
And not to mention, in the meantime, they did have one line in the movie that kind of was a little foreshadowing, and that was when Jamie Foxx goes, "There's got to be a Black Spider-Man," you know. So, based on what I just dropped, the concept trailer, I dropped it on the Facebook discussion group. If anybody wants to see it, I believe we're ready for that. So,
and RJ Kyler would be perfect for that. You know, he's in that fan film. I think he'd be a perfect choice. I would have said Shameik Moore if he was a little bit younger. Like, Shameik Moore is the voice of Miles in into the Spider-Verse, and that actor would be a great live action Miles Morales, except that he's like much older than that character would be.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
A lot of things.
So it looks like we did about an hour and a half here. I mean, Joe, is there anything that we missed or we glossed over? Or anything we should cover real quick before we call it night here?
I'm pretty sure we touched on everything. The only things that we didn't really touch on, we didn't do too much about the the thing where he Bluetoothed the arms of Doc Ock, which I thought was kind of a little bit of a plot hole because you know, if his suit can do that, anybody's phone.
Anybody, right?
But and then the Electro Stark reactor. That was the only other thing we didn't really touch on. But everything else we pretty much hit. So I think we did pretty good.
All right. So Pest, since you are our awesome guest here for again, thank you for taking time off your busy schedule to hang out with us. This has been an absolute blast. But go ahead, plug whatever you want to plug, and you know what? We should probably give our final rating too. Pest, plug yourself in, and then give your final thoughts on Spider-Man and maybe the future of Spider-Man as well. So go ahead, dude.
Okay, so you guys already know YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Twitter is the best way to interact with me. I stay on Twitter all day long. Again, I'm doing a Christmas giveaway. There is $650 in the prize pool right now. I am going to personally give someone $500, and then we're going to figure out what we're going to do with the other $150. And yeah, you know, I'm just super glad to be here, to be able to, you know, nerd out with y'all. It's always a great time when I come nerd out on NerdCage. Again, I don't get to do this a lot. I don't get to just be super nerd. I've got to be a football guy. Yeah, I always got to be football guy, or I've got to be video game guy. So I don't get the opportunity to just be the super nerd that I actually am. So this is always a great time. My final thoughts on the Spider-Man No Way Home. I am going to give this movie a solid 8. Okay. I want to give it a 9, but there's a couple of things. But I think this movie is an 8 out of 10. It is a must watch. I personally think this is a top 5 Marvel movie overall. Okay, this is definitely a top 5 Marvel movie. You gotta go see it in theaters, and then you gotta go buy it so you can watch it at home, because it ain't gonna be on Disney Plus. But yeah, love the movie. I think it's great. I'm super happy with the way that the movie ended, the way we told the story, and I'm satisfied. Like I said, I think that we can go a few years without Spider-Man and be okay based off of what we've seen. And it's time for Marvel to start establishing some of these new people, because we've got to get to whatever the next big bad is. So yeah, I'm happy, and I definitely suggest that everybody go watch it.
Excellent. Joe, go ahead. Final thoughts and anything you want to plug we got coming up.
All right. I give this movie a 9.5 out of 10.
Ooh.
Definitely the best movie of the year so far for me. It was just enough to unseat Ghostbusters for me, although that is a close second. And going forward, I mean, there are some things I'd like to see. You could see maybe they'll go further with Andrew Garfield, given Amazing Spider-Man 3. I definitely want to see something come of Miles Morales. And I'm perfectly fine with Tom taking some time off, because that gives time to shift focus to other Marvel films and be able to kind of connect the dots a little more on how they connect to this, if they do. So coming up, I believe tomorrow we have our continuation of Shaolin Monks on Twitch.
Yes.
And then coming Friday, we're going to be playing Untitled Goose Game.
Yep.
So look out for that.
Yes. And all right. So Marq, go ahead, close us out. Close the your closing thoughts on the movie, and of course anything you want to plug in that we have coming up.
Sure. So as I said at the beginning of the stream, I gave this an 8 out of 10. It's not a perfect movie, but it is without question my second favorite movie of the year, only behind Dune, because I just think that's a masterpiece. You know, I said off camera to these guys that I'm not 100% happy with all the bumps in the road that this took, but I'm more than pleased with the destination, like where it ended up. I love that this gave us the Spider-Man that I have been wanting since the beginning of the trilogy. And all of these surprises and even the things that we knew were coming felt like surprises. So for that reason, I just think that this is an incredible film that everybody needs to see. It's got tons of action, tons of poignant moments. I think we get some great performances from not only from Tom Holland, from Willem Dafoe, but from Zendaya, from Andrew Garfield, Alfred Molina, which we haven't talked about this entire stream. I thought he did a great job. Benedict Cumberbatch. I just think that overall, this film like really met my expectations on a lot of levels, and I would just leave it at that. And then as far as things we have coming up, tomorrow, I guess we have the finale of. Well, not tomorrow. Today's Monday, right? So Wednesday, we have the season finale of Hawkeye. Wild Band and I are doing a Hawkeye series of reviews on TikTok. Episode 5 will be dropping probably either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. And then on Friday, we'll drop our review of the finale. And then I have a surprise look back episode that Jay and I did earlier a few weeks ago that we're going to be dropping sometime next week. I don't want to kind of say what it is until it's finished, but look out for those things.
Yes. And real quick, thanks to everyone who came in tonight. Be sure to join the Facebook discussion group. Obviously, if you're listening to the audio podcast, thank you. This is going to be up on our audio streams, but we're on every single audio platform, so thank you very much for that. Again, Joe said earlier, we're going to be on Twitch, continuing our quest in Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. Thank you to all the big combat heads out there that's been, supporting the Twitch.
Jumping our follower count.
The Twitch has been growing, so thank you to everybody for that. There will be no other live streams this week on YouTube. We're kind of going to take this week off from live streaming because of the holidays. But I will say, we have one more live stream for the end of 2021. Next Thursday, December 30th, is the Matrix Resurrections watch party. Just come over, let your nuts hang out as we watch The Matrix 4. I'm seeing the movie Wednesday. I hope it's good. But if it's not, we're still gonna do this watch party anyway because it's just fun to hang out with friends and watching a movie.
Right.
It's like renting a movie theater with just your friends and nobody else. So really, really looking forward to that. And there'll be great things to come in January. But yeah, like I said, no live stream this week. We'll be on Twitch. Look out for the TikTok videos, and we'll do, like I said, Matrix Watch Party will be next Thursday to end the year on an absolute high note. And of course, Mark and I will definitely do a rapid review probably this week to drop on TikTok on top of Hawkeye. So keep your eyes out for that. That's pretty much all I got, guys. Pest, stick around for like a minute after we're done here because we saw I want to ask. I didn't get the chance to ask you earlier. But again, thank you to everybody in the chat here for coming in on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube. We had an absolute blast with everybody. So that being said, we pretty please ask you to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and spread that shit like syphilis. So you guys say, from yours truly, Syracuse, New York, Louisville, Kentucky, Virginia, Queens, New York, for all of our friends and fans around the world at NerdCage Live, The Hub, and PTA Sports. As always, enjoy life, stay safe, and remember, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Thank you very much, and good night.
Sayonara.
Good night, sis.
NerdCage Live and gaming are a perfect match.
Shoot the J, Joe. Okay. Shoot it!
All right.
Over on NerdCage Live on Twitch, Jay and Joe go live.
Call me Bazooka Joe.
It's all about you.
Kaboom!
playing both old school and new school games every Tuesday night. Ooh, what a sight!
Jay, stop looking at her face and run.
But she's so beautiful.
So be sure to follow NerdCage Live on Twitch.
Run for your life, Joe. Run for your life, Joe.
Running.
Run faster. Oh no, Joe, the galaxy's doomed because of you.
To scratch your gaming itch.
Oh, nice kick, Joe.
Thank you.
Yo, that's diabolical. Wait. Yo!
That's twitch.tv/NerdCage Live.
Ooh, trying to get out of the nerd cage, are ya? Well, before you go, hit that subscribe button. And if you're really intrigued, ring that bell. Thank you for dropping by. Until next time, tell everyone you know about NerdCage Live!